This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, happy Saturday, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, here along with Matt Allen, and together we are your KTAR car guys, heard here every Saturday from 11 to noon. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, our goal is to help you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience, to remove the stress, the anxiety about the car. You know, next to your home, your car is your next biggest expense. So if you got car questions, we've got car answers. We encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we're going to have a tip for you, as always, open phones and texts. And this week, I want to talk about starting problems because it's on my mind.
You had one of those, huh, Dave?
I met my wife. I was coming home. I was going to take a quick shower and go to work, and my wife says, "Hey, my car won't start." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay." Earlier in the week, she had called my shop, and she told Tom, she said, "Hey, my car won't start." And he kind of talked her through it, and she got the car started. Well, I never heard anything about it until her car won't start. So I said, "Hey, take my car to work, and I'll take your car to work." And she left, and I thought, oh, man, that was very chivalrous of me, but how am I going to get to work? So I don't even own a pair of jumper cables, Matt.
I don't either. I do. I have a bad habit of leaving my dome light on.
Oh, yeah.
I love my Chevy truck when I had it. You turn on the dome light, and at least there's a fail-safe. It shuts off after 15 minutes.
Not the Toyota?
This Toyota, man. I'm getting better at it, though. But I got lots of dead batteries.
My Honda turns off the lights, which is cool. But, yeah, so how am I going to get to work? And I thought, I've got tow companies on my cell phone. I could call them and get tow companies, but I don't really want to call a tow company out for a dead battery. I'll just jump this thing thinking, my neighbor's got a battery charger. I'll call him. So, after digging through his garage, he wasn't there. He said, go in, see if you can find my battery charger. And I couldn't find that thing anywhere. So I called Jim Atkinson at Car Repair Company, who was kind enough to come over and give me a jump so I could get to work. And when we're jumping the car, I had one way of doing it, and Jim had another way of doing it.
Let me guess, Jim was right.
I know Jim was right. He's like, no, you're doing it wrong, Dave. And so, how many people are jumping cars wrong, and how often, Matt, we've seen problems with cars because people jump their car wrong or wrecked something. And so the point of the story, and I'm preaching here I should be listening to myself. You should never have to deal with a dead battery if you're staying on top of it. And you've seen that little red battery light that turns on the dashboard? I think people think that's going to show up when they're going to have a dead battery. And that doesn't work that way.
Well, they are going to have a dead battery shortly after that if they're not paying attention. But you're right, Dave. I mean, a lot of battery problems we can prevent. And a lot of times a bad battery is not the cause of the problem. That little battery light is there. That means there's something wrong with the electrical system. Not necessarily the battery. You could have a very perfectly fine battery and that light be on. So, be careful. You have an electrical problem or a charging problem more likely.
So the battery, we're talking conventional cars, not hybrids or electric cars, anything like that. The battery, its job is to start the car. Once the car is started, it doesn't really do anything else. I mean, it's there. The alternator is what provides the power to the car to run the car and recharge the battery so it can recover from the last, pull of juice, from the starter motor running.
I like to, what kind of juice does a battery have? Is it
it's
apple
got
juice?
Lead acid juice.
Okay. So it's got electricity.
So we pull the juice out of the battery, starting the car. We used all those cranking amps, and so the alternator is going to run the car. So that's the headlights and the air condition and the stereo and all that stuff, and it's going to recharge the battery at the same time. So if you got the little red battery light that turns on, it's not because your battery necessarily is bad. It's because that alternator is not working. So if the alternator is not working, well, the battery will do the jobs that the alternator should be doing. So it'll run the air condition, the electric part of it. It'll run the stereo, but the battery is eventually going to peter out because it's not being rejuvenated from the alternator. Yeah. So that's what that little red light means.
And the battery's there for reserve. It's got to, sometimes you take more amperage out of the car than the alternator can support. So you've got to have a good battery there as the foundation all the time.
So in my wife's car, she thought when she called the shop a couple days earlier, she talked to Tom. Tom said, well, it sounds like your starter's going bad. Just go try it again. And she tried it again, and it started up, and she drove, and she kind of forgot to talk to me about it. And or maybe she mentioned it. Maybe I had selective hearing. Sometimes I do. But, you know, a shoemaker's kids go without shoes. An auto mechanic's wives go without good batteries. So that's what happened at my house. So, you know, she had starter problems. Sometimes you're gonna turn and nothing's gonna happen. You know, everything lights up real bright on the dashboard. You know, your air conditioner will turn on. You feel the fan blowing, but you just get nothing there. That can be a starter issue. So the things that we've got the battery, we've got the starter, which is the electric motor that turns the engine over to get it going, and then we've got the alternator. So you can have a problem with one of those three things. Batteries.
Yeah. And then don't forget, all those things have to be tied together or connected with good battery cables, nice, solid, good ground connections that are clean and tight. You can't have a bunch of corrosion across the top of the battery. You know, you open up the hood on a car, you might see a bunch of cauliflower there. Well, heck, in some cars, where's the battery, Dave? It's not even under the hood. It's in the trunk. It's under the back seat.
We talk about all kinds of stuff on this show that most people will never, you know, it's kind of good to be in the know. But the one thing that most people can deal with is maybe jump-starting their car. Do we really want people jump-starting their car, Matt? Is that a good idea? What can go wrong? What are some of the consequences of jump-starting your car wrong, or just jump-starting your car can cause issues?
Well, we've seen at my shop recently, we had two or three in recent time with Volkswagens. They're very hard to see. The battery's up underneath the windshield area and the cowling area. Same with the Audis. Sometimes the battery cables are both black, so you're hooking up
which one's red?
Which one's positive? Which one's negative? So you're hooking up the battery cables and you hook them up backwards. You might fry a big heavy amp fuse on your car. You might also screw up your buddy's car.
The guy that's helping you out.
I tell my wife, somebody asked you for a jump start? No, I have cables. No.
Just be real cold. No, sir, I can't help you with that.
Yeah, But then what do? You go to jump start the car and can't find the battery.
Oh, yeah, that's real common. You know, you open the hood, where's it at? It's not there. It's in the trunk.
Yeah. Or under the seat. So a lot of times you're going to find under the hood, and we do our battery test at some points from this, you're going to see a red cap or some kind of device that mounted maybe on the strut tower over by the side of the engine, and it's going to have a red cap, and you pull that cap off, and that exposes the heavy cable that probably goes directly to the battery and right down the starter. So that's where you're going to want to connect your jumper cable. And then maybe you have a ground connection. It might be a fatter bolt on one of the strut towers. Some of the Chevrolets have just this big piece of metal sticking up. It has a G on it or a negative with the ground sign, 3 little hash marks to signify the ground.
So jump in the modern car. Let's just go through it. Okay, I've got a good car, Matt. You've got a bad car. Or I'm the donor of the power. You're the receiver.
Okay.
And you've got a dead battery, and so you call me up. Hey, Dave, come on, got to come bail me out. I don't want to call the tow company. So I show up to your place. You've got the cables because I don't have cables. So what's the first thing we're going to do? We park the cars head to head or side by side.
We're going to get the batteries to where we can reach them. You know, so with your jumper cables, or we'll talk later about even a little jumper box situation. But just for most people, you're going to have a set of jumper cables. We want to get the batteries close to each other, or at least the distance of the cables can reach.
And if you're buying cables right now, don't go short. If you can get a 6-footer, you don't want a 6-footer. You want a 15-footer.
And they need to
make them long.
They need to be heavy. I mean, you don't want the ones from
the cheapy ones,
Acme imported from China kind of deals. I mean, you need some stuff that's heavy. I mean, if those things, you don't have to lift them up, and if you can't squeeze those clamps, I mean, you ever have the exerciser for your
I got one,
grip thing?
Just for jumping cars.
That's what those clamps need to be like, so they're getting a hold of that. So we're going to get the batteries close. I would probably just leave my car running, but I'm experienced, so maybe you're better off just to start with your car turned off, even the donor car. I would probably start. I'm going to hook up the positive battery cable to my car.
The good car. You're the good car. We started this the other way, but we'll let you be the good car if you really want to be.
So whatever. So I'm going to hook up the positive battery cable to the good car.
Okay.
Then I'd probably go to the dead car and hook up the positive battery cable there.
Okay. So we're going to handle positive first, good car, bad car.
Yeah. Then I would go probably to the bad car and hook up the negative to the battery there, because you're not going to have any sparks. That battery is still not activated. Those cables aren't grounded to each other until you've connected the ground. And I don't want to have sparks happening near the battery, because there's a bad battery might be off-gassing or have some of the acids and stuff coming out, and if you have a spark there, you could have an explosion. So I don't want anything connected that's live, if you will, to the bad car. So we'll hook up there at the battery, maybe even to the ground terminal. Then I'm going to go to my good car and hook up to either the battery or the ground cable. The ground on the engine or the block or the other designated point is the best place to be. Then I'm probably going to start the car if I didn't leave it running. But if you don't know what you're doing under the hood, you're not familiar, you don't want to drop a cable into the fan or catch it.
I'm confused. I think you turned me around. I think we want to go negative on the good car first, right?
No.
No? Okay.
Why?
All right.
No, I would go on the bad car first and then make my final connection. These cars are not connected until you connect the ground wire.
Okay.
So I would then going to connect that car. If your engine's off, then I would go start it. Your car is going to start fine. The good car will start up. And then I would probably let it run for 2 or 3 minutes, maybe even elevate the idle. That's going to help get a charge, a little bit of a surface charge into the dead battery.
Okay.
And
now,
then,
you mentioned something the other day, turn the headlights on.
Yeah.
That's a good little trick. Go ahead, tell me about that.
So the headlights are going to be like a surge protector. And on the good car, now we got these other, I'm talking about a halogen headlamp, some of these xenon bulbs and stuff that may not work, but it's going to be a surge protector. So you get a spark or you get some kind of surge into the good car, those headlights will be a shock absorber, if you will. They're going to take up some of that electrical current and help protect your car, and then fire away, the thing will start, and then both cars are running, and then we can catch up on that.
All right, when we come back, we've got Jerry, Tom, Phil, and Mark in an open line at 602-277-5827. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
I've got a lot of questions, like the value of light rail and why America doesn't have bullet trains. I want to know whether any of the new Apple items are worth my money. And finally, I want to talk movies. The ones that are about to come out. Which ones will be worth my investment in popcorn? The answers will come from the McMahon Group today at 4 on KTAR News 92.3 FM.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Few cities are as car-centric as Phoenix, and this is the show that'll help you to better understand that machine you depend on to get around the valley. It's Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and the KTAR app for Android and iPhone.
Well, I kind of feel like we left that whole jump-starting procedure missing a detail or two, but the headlight point is turn the headlights on. It's a shock absorber. It might just... The other thing we didn't talk about is eyeglasses. Batteries do blow up, so if you want to jump-start your car, you can. If you're feeling adventurous, you can. Make sure to kind of follow procedures. You can find these online. There are a lot of places, kind of step-by-step instructions how to do it. But batteries do blow up, so it's not a safe thing anymore. Even when I was jump-starting the car with Jim, I kind of look at where the post is. I turn my face, and I blind clamp it, because if that thing blows up, I'm worried about my eyes. My hands, they'll recover. And have water nearby. So, I mean, if something happens, you can wash that acid off, because it's not a good thing.
Sure. Well, I'm Matt Allen. He's Dave Riccio. And as you may have figured out, we're talking about batteries and charging systems and what may go wrong with your car. So if you want to get in on the show, you've got a question about your battery or your alternator or anything that's wrong with your car, it doesn't have to be what we're talking about. It's what you're talking about, because that's why we're here, to help you. And you can do that at 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. And if you'd like to text, you can do that at 411-923.
Well, let's get to Phil in Central Phoenix. It looks like he's got a jump start question. Hey, Phil, you are on Bumper to Bumper Radio. How can we help you today?
Hey, guys. I just wanted to let you know I work for... Well, I retired from an auto company, and the best way to jump-start the car is you're correct. You put two positives on, then you go with the negative to the donor car, and then you connect the negative to not the battery, but to like a negative on the alternator or negative on the car, because if the battery is shorted, you will not start the car anyway. This way you're bypassing the battery, and you're going from your battery directly to the starter, which bypasses that battery in case it's bad and you can't start.
That's a great point, Phil, and something we should have pointed out is go to the ground on the car that you're jumping.
Yeah,
the car that needs help.
And
also prevents sparks around the top of the battery.
We're not talking about the ground underneath the car like the asphalt. We're talking about a big chunk of metal somewhere on the alternator. Or like I said, there's that band of metal sticking up where you want to connect that clamp.
Well, thanks for the call, Phil. We are going to go with Jerry in Chandler. He's got an 02 Dodge Dakota. Hey, Jerry, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. How can we help you?
Dave, we should have gone the other way. We should have gone Tom, then Jerry. You know what I mean?
I know.
Tom
I saw
and Jerry.
that.
We see that.
That would have been good.
Jerry next. Tom, what's up?
No, Jerry.
Oh, I mean Jerry. Yeah.
Jerry, yeah. Tom's waiting. I've got a 2002 Dodge Dakota. And I don't know much about this car. I've owned it for 3 or 4 months. I bought it in Las Vegas, and I burned up the engine on the way home because somebody had left the radiator cap loose, and the water basically steamed out of the engine. The temperature gauge never went above half. I watched it like a hawk, but basically burned up the engine. So did a complete rebuild at a professional shop, all the machine work on the engine, new pistons, a 1030 over bore, completely did the cylinder heads, straightened them first, and then did all the work on the cylinder heads. Awesome, at a very, very reputable shop. Put it all back together. I picked the car up, ran absolutely fantastic, went down and passed my smog, thank goodness. The next day, the check engine light came on. And it's got, I took it to one of those clicky places, and it said misfire cylinder 1 was the only code. Took it back to the shop that installed the engine. He put it on his scope. He said, yep, it's only on misfire cylinder 1. They put a new injector, no difference. They put a new coil pack, no difference. Changed the spark plug, no difference. So that's where we're at. And I have the car. I'm driving the car. I probably put on another couple hundred miles on it. He said it's minor. It's not going to hurt anything. And he asked me to buy a used intake manifold because he said once I pair into the intake manifold, if we have another one to put on, then we've got that taken care of. So I'm calling to find out any ideas.
It sounds kind of funny. Whenever someone says, the check engine light's on, no, just don't worry about it. That's kind of code word to me is I don't know how to fix it. This could be challenging. I was going to say fuel injector. We've had some of those with a misfire, and we've taken the fuel injectors out and had them ultrasonically cleaned. But we need to start with the basics. Maybe even though the engine has been rebuilt, we need to go do a compression test on that cylinder. We need to have a vacuum gauge hooked up and see if there's some indication of a burnt valve or a valve that isn't seated right or something. Maybe we're going to need to do a leak down test where we pressurize that cylinder with the valves closed and find out where that air is going. So first we're going to have to make sure that mechanically things are working right on that cylinder. Then, if he's got an intake manifold, Dave, maybe there's a vacuum leak somewhere. So we're going to, in my shop at Virginia Auto Service, we'd be hooking up what we call a smoke machine. We're pressurizing with a light amount of pressure, a machine that hooks up and creates smoke, like old stuff that was in your little toy choo-choo train.
It's the stuff they use at the rock concert.
Yeah. Something like that, and it's pushing. So we're going to look for that smoke, and it's burning some oil that's got dye in it. So we can sometimes see the smoke, or we can go around with an ultraviolet light and see where that smoke or steam, if you will, maybe comes out and deposits some dye. I'm the lines that we got to figure out mechanically. Make sure everything in there is cylinder number one. We've got good compression and valves are working, everything like it should be. So I would go there. Thanks so much for the call. 602-277-5827. And, I wanted to mention our Summer of Love promotion, Matt. We're just wrapping that up in Phoenix Children's Hospital, and a lot of great customers came into our shops and dropped some money, and all the bumper-to-bumper shops got behind it, and I thought it was a good turnout. Yeah, we're going to match that. So, you can feel good about doing that. I know we've got ours all tallied up. We haven't stroked that check yet. So if you want to get in on it, it's not too late to do that, but it's always great to support the community, and that's what the shops at Bumper to Bumper Radio are all about. The people you're going to see out and about at the grocery store, at the events, and everywhere.
Well, you can text us at 411-923 or call us at 602-277-5827. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Arizona, an amazing state for outdoor recreation and exploration. Full of mountains, lakes, streams, forests, and of course, our beautiful deserts. Hunting, fishing, camping. If it's about the outdoors, we've got it covered. KTAR invites you to Get Outdoors with Mike Russell today at noon. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and on every device with the KTAR app.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family-owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio, and just a reminder, we are here every single Saturday at 11 to help you with your car. I am Matt Allen, and Dave Riccio stepped out of the studio for a little bit and came back as number 44, Dave Anthony Rizzo, his alter ego. Dave wants to be called Dave Anthony Rizzo from
I
now
am
on.
changing my name to Rizzo. You know, I'm a Diamondbacks fan first, but I'm a Chicago Cubs fan second. And I want to be a left-handed first baseman for the Cubs.
Do you gotta look like this guy, I understand, or something, or you know?
Rizzo, Ricky, it's pretty close. No, I don't look anything like him.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just want to.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be like Frank Rizzo, you know, the crank
Yeah,
call guys
Frank
or
Rizzo.
something.
That's one of those names. Hey, I got Rizzo on the phone.
All right, so Dave Riccio is back. So if we want to talk baseball, I guess we'll get Rizzo in here, but we got Riccio now. So
Cubs are having a phenomenal season, but
Yeah.
go ahead. We got Tom in Queen Creek who needs our help. Hey, Tom, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. How can we help you?
Hey guys, I have a 2006 GMC 2500 with an 8.1 liter and alley transmission, and I was going up to Payson this past weekend with about a 12,000 pound trailer, and about 4,000 RPMs, I was getting a squeal from the dash. I thought it was the radio, so I turned it off, but the squeal was still there. As soon as I backed off about 4,000 RPMs, the squeal went away. So I don't know what it is.
Did it return? Did you go back up to 4,000 RPMs and did the squeal come back?
Yes, it did. I was in third gear doing about 45 miles an hour.
is that really high pitched?
It sounded like a radio squealing. It was coming from the dash area. It wasn't coming from the trans tunnel.
Mm-hmm. What kind
So
of?
I'm a mechanic, a refrigeration mechanic, and I notice things like you guys. You listen for noises in our trade. So I never had it before. This is the first time I've ever pulled anything that heavy with this.
Maybe it was just the engine screaming help.
Yeah, right. But it wasn't like a belt squeal going on.
No, I don't think it was a belt squeal. I mean, it has the original water pump. Someone said it may be the water pump in it, squealing at that RPM.
Yeah,
what about the load? Can you duplicate it without the load on the engine, or without that big heavy 12,000 pound trailer? If you're cruising around town, have you tried getting in that RPM range and see if you can duplicate it?
I can try it. I mean, my trans temp went up to 210. I usually run about 190, which is usually the same temperature as the engine. But I can try to duplicate that noise.
Yeah, I'm not that Allison transmission, man. It is a bulletproof tank. I'm not worried about that thing at all. But,
Really?
when I got a noise and I can make it happen on a regular basis and it's in the dashboard, I'm going to start playing with things on the dashboard. I'm going to play with the radio. I'm going to play with the air conditioner. I'm going to see if I can affect change. And that's going to help me know, if I'm in the right direction or not. Sometimes you get a squeal and you turn the AC off and the squeal goes away. Well, that's the AC compressor and the belt dragging right there. So those are the kind of things I'm going to try to dial into what it is.
Yeah, and I was thinking maybe for some reason the pressure of the AC running through the evaporator. The other thing I thought about momentarily is wind noise. Maybe it was just the right circumstance. But
I've fixed some wind noises that were the problem, and
Yeah.
Everyone else is scratching their head. I'm like, wind noise.
Could be. I mean, it's hard to say, but oh boy, noises are always tough.
Turn the radio. We should have made him. We didn't make him make the noise. That's our big problem. Hey, I got a text here. It looks like this gentleman has a 95 Chevy that randomly just dies, and he's changed the battery and battery cables, but it's still doing the same thing while he's driving. Random dying. That is one of the things we do look at sometimes as battery cables for random dying. I dealt with a vehicle here at my shop about 2 weeks ago, and the thing would die every 50 miles. You'd be driving it, it would just die. And it turned out to be the fuel pump. But the only way we proved it out was to put a fuel pressure gauge on it and go drive at 50 miles. And what happened was at 50 miles, the pressure started just tapering down, and then the engine would die. So that happened to be, the battery cables, yes, we took care of that. That may not have been the issue, but we could have a lot of other things going on that cause those intermittent dying problems. So you hope they're pretty consistent. They're easier to find when they're consistent, but when you got to wait 50 miles, it's a pain in the neck to fix.
Yes, big time. Hey, we got a text too, Dave. It says, is it safe to jumpstart a 12-volt system with a 24-volt system? I would say no. Not going to happen. I wouldn't be doing that. You're probably going to let the smoke out of the wires.
And will that smoke machine that you have put the smoke back into the wires?
No,
it doesn't do that.
No, it certainly won't.
All right. Well, 602-277-5827. We are going to go with Mark in Gilbert. He's got an 02 Honda Accord. Hey, Mark, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. How can we help you?
Yeah, I got a question about overheating. I would turn my car and then let it idle for about 10, 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden the temperature gauge would just go up. And I noticed the fan on the radiator won't turn on. And I don't know what else to replace. I replaced the radiator, replaced the coolant, and then my next option will be to replace the thermostat and then the coolant sensor. What do you guys think?
Mark, we lost you there for a second. What did you replace? The first thing, did you say the radiator or the radiator fan?
The radiator was replaced, coolant,
okay,
and then all the hoses.
And this was done prior to you having this problem, or did you do this hoping that this would fix your overheating problem?
It was prior.
Okay.
It was done from a shop.
Okay. Well, a couple things that make me perk my ears up a little bit. You said the fan won't come on, but then what I think I'm understanding is that you didn't have this problem until somebody replaced the radiator. So that could be I'm going to go a couple different ways here. Somebody might have created this problem by not doing the job right, which, Dave, is what? You got a big air pocket in the cooling system, possibly.
Air pocket in the cooling system, but as far as the fan not running, you're saying something maybe didn't get connected right? Possibility?
Well, that too. So we have limited information here, but
you can force those fans to come on by turning the air conditioner on, correct?
Yeah, turn the air conditioner on, and both radiator fans should come on. There's going to be one that's primarily for the radiator that's going to run most of the time, even in the winter time when the car gets hot enough. But by default, when you turn on the air conditioner, the other one that is primarily there to help with the condenser, depending on how the system is set, they should both be running. So the easy test to see if those working is turn on the air conditioner. Now, if they don't work, sometimes we can just give them a little whack with a ball-peen hammer or a screwdriver, and that will jump-start that motor. Be careful. You don't want to get your fingers in the blade. You can spin the blade a little bit. Just don't lop off the end of a finger and get that fan jump-started. And then if it starts working, you've probably got a bad fan. But it sounds like somebody's got an air pocket. Maybe they didn't disconnect something. But don't just start replacing parts. Have a plan. You know, I like to have the guys, if the fans aren't working, get the road map out. You've got to know where you're going. In an electrical problem, the road map is the wiring diagram.
You know, it's amazing what that Fonzarelli tap will do. You know, he used to hit the jukebox and it would turn on. You know, there's so many things. And I think for the tip of the week this week is if your car won't start and you think you got a bad starter, just go tap on that thing. And if it starts right up, great. You know you need a starter, and it's, you know, you don't have to tap on that thing every time you want to start the car. Go get a new starter.
Yeah, right. No, that's an old tow truck driving tip. I mean, you go out to jump start a car and it just goes, you know, the headlights are working really good. Give the starter a whack while you're trying to start it, and got to have a long arm if you're by yourself. But
well, good luck with your Accord, Mark. 602-277-5827. We're going to go with Larry in Scottsdale. He's got a 2013 Dodge Charger. How can we help you, Larry? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, good morning, guys. We got a 2013 Charger, and we had an audio system put in by a reputable dealer company in town here. And the headlights were dimming, so we took it back. They recommended they put in a second battery for the audio system, which they did. That corrected the headlight problems. Everything was working fine. Then we got a recall notice from Dodge that the alternator was defective. So we took it back to Dodge. They replaced the alternator. And about 3 days after the new alternator went in, the backup battery that was installed bulged, which would lead me to believe it was overcharging. Now, is it possible that they put in a bigger alternator, or do I still need that second battery?
What kind of sound system did you put in this? I mean, are you like bumping some, you know, are you vibrating all the cars around you, or what kind of, fill us in a little bit on the tunes you have going here.
Well, he put, it's my son's car, and he put in one of these amplifiers, and I think it's a 1,000-watt amplifier. So they recommended putting a second battery in there. Yeah, he's got one of those boom boxes in there.
Yeah. Boy, you know, I haven't heard a system really needing a second battery in a long time. You know, the second battery too it's just kind of inert. It's just there. It's really that's the reserve part. You know, that's an example where that that amplifier is really pulling a lot of, as Dave calls it, juice.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
juice.
a lot of amperage out of the battery, and the alternator cannot replace it fast enough, and so you need the reserve from the battery. I question that a little bit.
Right, but he said there was a recall. They put an alternator on there, and it was an alternator that would put out more. So maybe the vehicle in general had a weak alternator. We had the dimming headlights, and so we kind of fixed that problem with the extra battery. But really, the fix was the right alternator. That's what needed to happen. So we found that out kind of after the fact. Have you seen a battery bulge from an overcharging alternator?
Oh yeah. They will, but man, that's. It's a fairly simple test. If you've got a charging system analyzer and a tester like we have in our shops, Dave, you do a test. You can see how many volts the thing's putting out. 14.5 is 13.7, 14.5, somewhere in that range. But really, the amperage, I think, is what's going to make that battery bulge a little bit. Maybe I'd go away from the battery for a little while, disconnect the battery, protect the connectors, see how it performs and how it acts.
When we come back, we've got Alicia, we've got Joyce, we've got Ryan and Larry. We'll be right back. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE MasterTechs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurtz.
Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
I still think that sounds more like a motorboat than an automotive car. Like we should be doing a boating show instead.
Sounds like Cheech and Chong to
me. But then the tires are squealing, so it kind of makes me think automobile. Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are helping you with your car. Anything you want to know. Hey, Matt, you got to change your screen there so I can see who the heck is on. We're going to go with Alicia in Scottsdale. Looks like she has a 99 Toyota Celero Camry. How can we help you?
I'm not sure if this is related, but it first started dying. I took it to a mechanic. They ended up replacing the exhaust manifold, the fuel pump, and the radiator. And ever since then, whenever it's in low RPMs, it's automatic, but when it's shifting like in low gears, like the whole car shakes and it sounds like it's going to die. I took it to a couple mechanics and they don't know what's wrong with it.
Now, when you say it shakes, is this sitting still or while you're driving and the transmission shifting, I think you said?
Not while it's shifting, just while you're driving. Usually before it shifts, like the whole car is shaking.
Check engine light? Is there any check engine light?
Yeah, the check engine light is on.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I know we were talking about shifting there, but it sounds like the car's just running rough. She's feeling it running rough, and maybe getting started out is where it's lugging down the most.
Yeah, it's
Well,
hard
if
to
these
say.
cars were taken care of, I thought that they could go to 300,000 miles, and I'm just over 200,000. I don't know.
Yeah, you're doing something right so far, but it sounds like somebody's just not doing what they need to be doing. If that check engine light is on, that's telling you. It's not going to tell you what the problem is. It's letting you know the area. It's leaving a fingerprint behind or a footprint or something, so that we can go in and pull out a code, and then lets us find what system we need to be looking at. Now, people usually don't replace radiators for a stalling problem or something like that. I don't remember the whole list of things you said.
Exhaust manifold and radiator.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you had an exhaust manifold leaking. Maybe that's one of the ones where the exhaust manifold is the catalytic converter, and we fixed the symptom, maybe not what caused the whole problem. The radiator, I'm sure, wasn't, maybe they found that the radiator was leaking, and it's just a good thing you had it fixed at the same time. But the fact that check engine light is on, somebody ought to be able to get in there and fairly easily be able to diagnose that and find out and solve that problem for you.
Right. And Alicia, if you're comfortable with the shop you're working with, that's great. Stick with them because they already know what's going on. Sometimes it's hard to change shops halfway through repair if they know what's going on. But if you've lost confidence here, you keep taking the car back, it's not getting fixed, you can find a good shop at bumpertobumperradio.com. You're in Scottsdale. We've got Air Park Auto up in Scottsdale. We've got Whitey's Auto Repair in Scottsdale. A lot of choices there. Let's go with Joyce in Scottsdale as well on an 03 Ford Super Duty. How can we help you, Joyce? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, I forgot to say it's a diesel. You answered one of my questions about jumping from a 24-volt system, but how do you jump a double battery?
Well, your car has two batteries, but it's not 24-volt.
Diesel isn't? Oh,
No.
Okay.
No, now a big truck?
It is a big truck.
Well, I mean, but it's not an over-the-road truck is what I'm saying.
Oh, no.
It's not an 18-wheeler, if you will. Those, I believe, have 20-volt systems, but I'm definitely not an expert in those. But, yeah, just two batteries. 12 plus 12 is 24, but it is not 24 volts. They're not in series. They would, oh, boy, I'm going to step on it, so I'm not even going to say. But no.
They're not hooked up that way.
Yeah, if your car has two batteries, it doesn't make it a 24-volt. I haven't looked recently. I have an Excursion that's got two batteries. It's a diesel. And I've had to jump start it, but you definitely, one of those batteries is the direct connection to the starter in the ground. The other battery is going to be connected to that battery with some probably lighter gauge battery cables. And I guess you probably do want to know which battery to connect to. So I would definitely don't take Dave and I's word for it necessarily all the time. I think we know what we're talking about, I think. But no, refer to that owner's manual for sure.
Matt's looking at, he's got a little auto mechanic cheat sheet over there. No,
yeah,
he's
flipping, I'm Googling, checking how do you jump. I got to ask Siri. We could do that someday.
For sure. So, hey, Joyce, thanks for the call. We're going to go with Ryan in Phoenix on a 1994 Toyota 4Runner. How can we help you, Ryan?
Yeah, hey guys, how you doing today?
Fantastic.
All right, so I recently acquired this Toyota. It was a pain trying to get it home. I got it home. It was not shifting. It would not leave first gear. I actually got it home and pulled the tranny dipstick out, and I'm pretty sure that the person that I bought it off of has put oil inside of the transmission. How do I go about fixing it? Is it something that I need to have completely rebuilt, or is it just something that I can have flushed out?
Is that a two-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive?
It is a 4.
Four-wheel drive. Some of those 90s 4Runners, they combine the transmission and transfer case all in one, so it's a big, ugly mess. But are you saying it looks like motor oil because it's dark? Why do you think it's motor oil?
I actually, when I pulled the dipstick out, I had me and a couple buddies were just going through and inspecting it, and one of my friends actually put it on his fingers, and he smelled it, and it just smelled like motor oil and not transmission fluid.
Okay. Well, if that is the case, that's really not good. I don't know that I've ever really run into that before. Someone putting motor oil in the transmission, but it didn't quite sound right to me. But you can take the transmission pan off and see what's there. But on that 94 4Runner, it may just have brown, ugly, nasty fluid that's just really old. That's what I'm thinking. It sounds like a car that's been sitting.
Is that a model, Dave, where you might get some bleed over from the transfer case, have a seal leaking? That can't really leak into the transmission.
No, they actually share the same pump and share the same fluid. So on the early 4Runners, the transfer case and the transmission are the same piece. So it's a totally different setup than what you're thinking.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe just you won't know until you get it all out. So maybe the first thing, Dave, is if that showed up in your shop, even if let's just assume it did have motor oil in it, what would you do?
If it had motor oil in it, I guess I would try by flushing it out. But he's having a shifting problem. So if it's driving at all, I don't think you've got motor oil in there. That's what I'm thinking. It at least works in first gear because that hydraulic pump's not going to work too well with motor oil. So I think we need to find out why it's not shifting and then decide about servicing it and changing all the fluid and making that happen.
Yeah, and it's important to talk about the different fluids. 99 or 94, not so much. That's going to probably be a standard Dextron 3 in that. But that's the other thing that you have challenges with at your shop at Tri-City Transmission is making sure you have all the right fluids and the right transmission fluid in the right car.
Hey, Ryan, you can send me an email at carguys@ktar.com, and I'll try and help walk you through that to try and get this thing on the road. And, Matt, I'm just looking at the text here. Someone's asking if you need to pull the caps off the batteries before you charge the battery.
It's probably a good idea.
I remember that back in the day.
And a lot of batteries, I like the batteries that don't have caps. Some of them are sealed. Some do have caps, and that cap is just a vent. And so if you overcharge them, they might come off involuntarily and pop off like a soda bottle. So it would be a good idea to take them off, maybe wash the battery first. And the other thing is if you do have to add water to your battery, you really should be using distilled water.
Remember we had the battery guys on here from Interstate, and they said maybe there was a myth you could jumpstart a battery with aspirin.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
We got some other text here. Car guys, I have a 99 Suburban 7.4-liter Vortec. Starts fine in the morning, but drive it to the store and let it sit for 20 minutes, and it takes at least several tries to start as if it was flooded. I read about injectors leaked down being a problem with the engine. What do you think? Steve in Casa Grande. Well, thanks for the text, Steve. Matt, you got 2 seconds to answer that question.
2 seconds. I'm out of time. No, maybe, it starts fine in the morning. That's weird. I'm thinking maybe a hot soak issue. I would expect an extended crank time in the morning if we had a leaking fuel pressure regulator or a leaking fuel injector.
Send Matt an email at carguys@ktar.com, and he'll be sure to get back to you and get you an answer.
Thanks, Dave. Throw me under the bus right away, huh?
We're glad you can join us. Thanks, Bree, for running the dials. If you're looking for a friendly, honest, competent shop, you can find them at bumper-to-bumper-radio.com. While you're there, be sure to like us on Facebook. Remember never to text and drive. And from all the shops at Bumper to Bumper Radio, we hope you have a great weekend.